I'm so excited to be here. I'm so proud to see all those seeds you've planted, Joanne, Dav, and you, Aviva, and all those precious, precious women. I'm so proud to host you in my house in Jerusalem. Can you smell the fish of Shabbos being cooked there in the kitchen? I'm so happy to see you. It's strange times, times we've never experienced before. And we can be very, very nervous during this time. We can be aggressive. We can be envious. We can be with an evil eye, like we read this week in Parashat Balak. And that's why I want to call this lesson to the London women and women all around the world, but especially for you, London. God, save the Queen. Don't let us forget in these times that we are such queens. Do not let us lose our kingship. You know that Bil'am, whom we read about this Shabbos, has a special skill. He knows when is the very small part of a second when God is angry, and when it happens, and it happens every day, El Zoem Bechol Yom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry with us a tiny little time every day. Bil'am knows this time, and he knows that if he curses when God is angry, this curse can occur. Chas v'chalila, God forbid. What did he want to curse? He wanted to say one word. Chazal tell us. Kalem. Kaf, lamed, mem. Kalem means chas v'shalom, finish them. Don't let them live anymore. Kalem also means disgrace. I want this woman to be a walking disgrace. I want her to curse. I want her to lose her patience, to lose her hope, to daven with no love at all. Kalem. It's from the word disgrace, klima. But then God turns his curse upside down, and Kalem becomes Melech. I won't let these times make me a disgrace. Kalem. A calamity, if you want. I will stay a Malka. I will stay a queen. God save the queen. Do not let me forget. I am the daughter of the biggest king in the earth. I say it always, Elizabeth. Elizabeth. I am your daughter, and therefore I will not lose this essence of mine of being a queen. And you have all the rights to lose it these days. We've never experienced such days. You know, every day I'm standing here teaching the camera, many months now, teaching a camera. And I live just in front of the Knesset of the Israeli parliament. And from the window every day, those voices invade my lesson. Voices of yelling people, unemployed, crying, yelling to the prime minister. We don't have food. We don't have parnasa. And every day I do not close the windows because I want those voices to penetrate my shiur. I want those voices to be heard because we need redemption. It's not easy times at all. In Israel, we speak of the Gal Sheni, the second wave of the Corona. And I spoke this week to mothers about the second wave of vacation. They started again the Chofesh Gadol, the big vacation. This week, we just had one big vacation, 3 months at home from Purim. Now, again, doing nothing. And I said to all the mothers and the young girls, Hashem wanted us to learn this year something totally different. It's not studies any longer because children can learn through Google, through the computers. They know how to get information. What Hashem wanted us to learn this year is chofish, freedom, vacation. Would you be able to make yourself busy when unemployed? Would you be able to make yourself busy when you are already a little bit older with no work? Would you learn to make yourself busy with no teachers around? I think these are the skills that God has to teach us on 2020 because that's what we have to learn. You won't always have teachers near you. You won't always see the Morah. Morah in Hebrew is teacher, but Morah is also fear, authority, yirah. We won't be there, children. You have all the means to escape from us, and we won't even see. Would you be able to employ yourself when unemployed? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to take responsibility on our lives, to see what we do with the time we have. And it's different times, so different. I think we understand how different everything has become only since we came back to regular days. Only now in Israel, anyhow, we see how everything has changed. It's not the same fun shopping. It's not the same fun going to cafe or restaurants. It's so different. And my sixth grade daughter came to me this week with a sad face, and I said to her, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Vacation has started." And I said to her, "You should be happy." And she said, "I wanted to earn my vacation honorably." And I understood her. Because vacation has a meaning only when regular days are there. Then you could feel the happiness of being free. But when you have so much time, such long days, nothing is like it has always been. Always is not there any longer. And that's exactly what happened on Shiv'a Asar Betamuz the beginning of the 3 weeks that are coming to us from Shiv'ah Asar B'Tammuz until Tisha B'Av, Batal HaTamid, the always is cancelled. What happened on the 17th of Tammuz, Shiv'ah Asar B'Tammuz, this past day of next week? Every day when Beit HaMikdash was there, they used to sacrifice the tamid. This was the name of this sacrifice. Tamid baboker, tamid ben ha'arbaim. One sacrifice in the morning, one sacrifice in the afternoon. And when the siege started around Jerusalem, there were no sheep anymore to sacrifice. So every day they took a rope, they put a box in this rope, they put it down the wall with money, and those enemies of ours took the money, put a sheep, they took the sheep up, and they sacrificed it. But one day, it was Shiv'ah Asar B'Tammuz. They wanted to laugh at the Jews in Jerusalem. And when the Jews put down the money, they put in the basket a pig. And this pig, the Gemara says, did not want to cooperate in this horrible joke. It put its nails on the wall of Jerusalem, and everyone felt a horrible earthquake. Tak parsa al tak parsa, everything moved upside down because the tamid, the always, has been cancelled. Jerusalem is not the same any longer. In this strange wedding I had this week of my beloved son, when we sang Im eshkachech Yerushalayim, it was a different Yerushalayim. We all stood far from one another. We all had masks on our mouth. We couldn't be close to one another. Jerusalem looked at us and said, I'm so happy to see you this way. I'm so happy to see how each one of you gives space to one another. In this wedding of my son, who is called Ben Sion, Jerusalem told us, daughter of Zion, boys of Zion, this is the way you are going to learn what love is. All this corona came only to say to us, stop. And now you have to learn love. Because when tamid stops, it's only because you've done things every day. Tamid, you took the children, you put them in school, you davened, you kept your Shabbos with no love. You did it with inertia. Again and again and again. I always explain that inertia, this power of repeating yourself, in Hebrew it's 2 words, ein retziya. There is no will. There is no desire. You are frum. You are tsanua. You make your Shabbos. You smile to your husband. But love is not there. And when the tamid stops, don't be aggressive. Stop and think, where didn't I love enough? In our parasha on Shabbos, we see the donkey of Bilam, and suddenly it stops. But a donkey walks. Tamid it walks. It doesn't change. We always say, Akshan kmo chamor. You are stubborn like a donkey, because the donkey doesn't change. And suddenly it stands. And Bilam beats it. And the donkey opens its mouth and says to him, why don't you ask why Hashem stopped you suddenly on your way? Being aggressive now won't help. Being angry won't help. All you should do now is to start learning what love is. Understanding that having a protecting house is such a miracle. Having a husband is such a miracle. Having children and grandchildren who care so much for you. Having Jerusalem. Having Eretz Yisrael to yearn to. It's so precious. And in our tamid, in our everyday multitasking, we forgot to stop the donkey and love. To stop this donkey and say, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. We are such precious women. We have such a precious nation. How come we do not stop and say, wow, living is a miracle. Breathing is a miracle. Love is the biggest miracle of all. I think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought Corona to us because he wants to build Jerusalem this year, 2020 Tafshin Pei, because things this year happened that never happened before. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to fix the hatred, the sinat chinam, because of which his house was destroyed. Let's build it together. Let's learn what love is. So, what is love, Yemima? How do we build Beit HaMikdash, us women? Let's see what we fight for this year 2020, and thus we will learn what love is. This year, before the corona, started with this angry little young girl. Her name was Greta Thunberg. She stands there and says, you pollute the air. There is such pollution. We cannot breathe. How dare you? She spoke of clean breath. Then came the corona. The corona which took our breath out. Whoever experienced that, lo alenu, felt how she has to fight for every breath she breathes. And then the air was closed. The airplanes could not fly any longer. Shamayim sgurim, no air. No airplanes. And then all the world looks at George Floyd when a policeman is stepping on his throat and he says his last words, I can't breathe. This year, the world is fighting for fresh air. It's fighting for breath. What does it mean then, Yemima, to cure the world, to cure the lungs of the world, to learn what love is? Maybe to love means not to choke someone. Maybe so many mothers, they love so strong and sometimes they choke, sometimes they think these are the laws and I have to tell him this very firmly. Maybe to stop that means love. Maybe love means not to intoxicate my surrounding, and that's why putting a mask, maybe that's love. Maybe love means those breathing machines to help those that cannot breathe. Maybe I think that love means giving space, keeping space from another soul, neshama. Neshama is the letters of Meshuna. It's so different from me. I am politically belonging to this side. She belongs to that side. We are so different. Sephardi and Ashkenazi, less frum, more frum. She has this color. I have that color. Would you give her space? Would you let her breathe, Neshima, in the very special way that you do not know, Meshuna, different? Would you acknowledge that she is a different Neshama? I had the Yortzeit of my son just before the wedding of my other son. And my son was niftar, died because he did not have enough breath. And I always say that he taught me that there are children, Ima, that are not like the others, and they breathe differently, Ima. Would you give them space, even though they breathe differently? Only thanks to this son I lost, I could be so happy in the wedding of my son this week, because he is not like my other sons. He did not have the capacity of learning like they did. And we in our family, I grew in the Yeke Rothschild family. You had to be the best. You had to love learning. And how can I accept a child who is different from them? But the son I lost taught me, Ima, give space. Learn to accept another neshama who breathes in a totally different way. Will you keep his space? Will you learn who he is? Will you let him breathe the way he knows? And that's what love is all about. And the Maharal explains so beautifully at 17 בתמוז, Moshe Rabbeinu takes the Luchot HaBrit, the Torah, and he sees the children of Israel dancing around the calf. He breaks the Luchot. This happens on Shiv'a Asar Betamuz. How dare you? How could you break the holy Luchot? And not only that, This is the story which ends the Torah. It's the grand finale, the last psukim of the Torah. ואת היד החזקה אשר עשה משה לעיני כל ישראל. Remember the strong hands of Moshe when he broke the luchot in front of your eyes. Why does the Torah end with a story of its own breaking? It's her loss. Why the grand finale of the Torah ends with Shiv'a Asar B'Tammuz, the breaking of the Luchot? And the Maharal explains so beautifully. Each and every one of this holy nation has a letter which belongs only to him in the Torah. But Yemima, there are many more dues than the letters of the Torah. Yes, but each and every one of the Jewish nation has a letter which belongs to a special word, milah, which belongs to a special pasuk, which belongs to a special paragraph, which belongs to a special parasha. Moshe Rabbeinu at the end of the Torah says, Israel is initials of Yesh Shishim Ribo Otiyot LaTorah. Each and every one of this holy nation has its special letter, its special word, its special context in the Torah. And now, in order to build Beit HaMikdash, in order to have a Beit HaMikdash which will stay with us forever, I break this holy Torah. And now you have a puzzle of millions of tiny pieces. I want each and every one of you to find his letter of the Torah and look for his neighbors, his milieu, his milah word, his sentence, his paragraph, his parasha. I give you the chofesh gadol. I won't be your teacher any longer. It won't be a book which you can understand easily. Now you write the Torah and understand that without her, and she is a very weird neshama, with her special way of breathing, neshima, she is meshuna. She is strange. She's not the way you look like. She's not the way you grew like. She's in a different color. I want you to find your neighbors. Without them, your Torah lacks. It lacks love. I want you to find the neighbors from this side, those that vote to the right, those that vote to the left, those that are gerim in the line just above you. You know, I want to cry when I teach in Zooms, and I do it every day. But when it's international, like this evening, I see women next to one another, and you do not know one another. She's from London, she's from Vancouver, she's from Antwerp, she's from Paris. And you are still in one classroom, in one class from Jerusalem, כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים. And in physics it says, if two forms can adjust themselves to the third form, it means you have something in common between you. The Zoom has put us apart. but it has put us together. I'm so moved to see in my lesson, in my classes, women that won't dare to come to my classes in Jerusalem if it's in the Beit Knesset, because they are dressed differently, they are not frum. Suddenly I see them in the Zoom and they feel comfortable and they find their place next to a totally different woman, and they give each other space and they give each other clean breath, because the Torah gathers us all. So every day you have to get up and fix this puzzle. Your Rav, your chief rabbi, Harav Yonatan Zaks, says that when Hashem created the world, it was broken into pieces, and since then we have to be busy fixing the world, and the more the world is broken, the easier it is to fix it, because you just have to take up a little piece. Your friend, your neighbor, your Ima, your sister. It's easy today to comfort. You know, once, a few years ago, when the world was not as broken as it is now, I had to be a philosopher in order to comfort people. I had to be the Rambam. I had to be the Kuzari. Today, I only hug. I only give this elbow of mine. I only do this, and it's enough. Because when the world is broken to such little pieces, very little words, very small sentences save the world. Every day I wake up in the morning and I try to fix this puzzle which Moshe Rabbeinu gave to us at Shiv'a Asar Betamuz. And this puzzle has so many parts, and it's so complicated to put them together. It looks like a big, big Zoom. And the Maharal says, do you know why we have so much hatred in our nation? No nation has those inner wars and Lashon Hara like our nations. Our nation, Am Yisrael, Ahuva, sorry. Why are we fighting like this? Why? And he explains. A very simple man from the village won't be envious of Queen Elizabeth, because in England you have ma'amadot. I don't know how to say it. You have the and the. So when the man from the village sees Elizabeth or Meghan, no, Meghan left the palace. When she sees Kate, she's so excited, and she sees her shalom, and wow, she's not fighting with her, because she knows that the queen is here and I am here. But in Am Yisrael, the Maharal says, there is no simple soul. Each and every one of us is Tselem Elokim, Silum, a picture of God. We are small gods. We are Elizabeth, Eli ze bat. I am your daughter. God save the queen. So we have many, many fights between us because we are fighting the same crown. We are all such queens and kings. So what should we do, Yemima? So we cannot ever make shalom between us. Nachon. So what should you do in order to build Beit HaMikdash? Every morning, I wake up and I say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, Hashem, You gave me a very puzzling puzzle. It has too many parts. So I can scarcely make the part of my own little home, put the parts of my children, my husband, the trees and the gardens surrounding my house I can also make, but then comes this horrible part that in every puzzle you have it, and it's the sky. And the sky is thousands of little pieces, another blue and another blue and another blue. This is the part when you say, I can make it. And I look up the sky and say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I can make the small puzzle of my family and my house, and it's not easy for me. But in your nation, each and every one of your daughters or son is a piece of sky. I can't put them together. And God says to you, I do not expect you to put them together. All I wanted you is to stand there and say, I admit she is a divine piece of sky. That's all I wanted you to say. She is heavenly. He is heaven. I cannot put them together, but I can acknowledge their heavenly neshama. That's all I wanted. God says, I will build Beit HaMikdash for you. Wow. I want to give you homework for the 3 weeks we are going to have starting from next week. And it's so easy and it's so hard. I want you to say every day to one person, a different person, I love you. It's so hard and it changes the world. If the doctors tell us that our words, that our speech can be contagious, and that's why we should put on masks, because we can make all the world sick because of one sentence we say with our mouth, let's be contagious. Let's spread love around. Let's take off those masks, those spiritual masks we put on ourselves, and say to one person every day, I love you. It cures the soul. It cures the world. You don't have to understand him. Your husband is a totally different and weird neshama meshuna. Would you give him space? I always say, when I speak of love, and these days I speak of love all around the world, I say that once I came home and I saw on the wall a graffiti that says, 1 + 1 = 1. It must have been a very in love couple, and he wrote on the wall, 1 + 1 = 1, which means we are one. This is not love, not at all. A love has to admit we are always 2 different people. Neshama meshuna. Don't think you are one. You do not own her. You do not own him. He won't behave like you. You will never be one. 1 + 1 always equals 2. Even when having children, it's not 1 + 1 = 3. It's always two, but it's not love yet. Love is 1 minus 1 equals 1. Would you be able to stand aside and give space, a whole space, to another neshama? But Yemima, what about me? You are the one who enabled her existence. It's called motherhood, imahut. Imahut is imahut. You are not there, you are not existent. But it's because your breath has become so short when you gave birth, only in order to hear a totally new neshama breathing her first breath. So you are diminished, but you are a creator. You enabled her to breathe. It was very exciting in my son's wedding because, unfortunately, elderly people were not there. My mother, the grandmothers, they couldn't come because they were scared of the corona. And then, for the first time, the students of our yeshiva, of boys who were kicked out of all other yeshivot, had space. They were the stars of the wedding. I was scared of that because I was scared they will drink a little bit, they will start making a balagan. But suddenly, I was so surprised to see that when they understood they are the crowd this time, they took responsibility. They learned how to behave in a total chofesh, total freedom. We gave them space. They were the honor guests, and they did not take advantage of it. For the first time, somewhere in the world, they were the guests of honor, and they behaved themselves. Just give them space, give them freedom, give them acknowledgement of their different neshama. They won't deceive you. Don't choke them because you are their policeman and you'll tell them how to behave. Don't put a mask because you are scared of their intoxication. Don't try to make them breathe when they already lost their breath, chas v'shalom. Give them space. Tell them, ani ohevet otcha. So important. 3 weeks, every day, to one person. Second homework. Try to interpret with your mouth everything you say for the good. Because that was the sin of the destruction days, 40 days of Tammuz until the 10th day of Av. 40 days the spies were walking in beautiful Eretz Yisrael, and they interpreted everything so badly. Stop being like Bil'am. Bil'am is looking with one eye because he doesn't want to see the depth of the reality. Only with 2 eyes you can see in tlat meimad. I don't know how to say in 3 lo yodat. But when you have one eye, you won't be able to put a thread into a needle because you don't have depth. Try to look with both eyes to see beauty. And even if you do not see it immediately, say it with your mouth. Toda Hashem. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful family. This year, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to see Beit HaMikdash being built. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu was so afraid of the words of Bil'am, it means words really influence the world. You can change every situation with your words and with your eyes, unless they were already interpreted by all the world, because you spread everything around. When we speak of the walls which were broken on Shiva Asar Betamuz, it's the walls of privacy. Everyone knows it all. And when it's widespread, you won't have the capacity of interpreting it to the good. A very precious Talmida of mine, after many, many years of waiting, she got engaged, and it was all around. And she sent the pictures all around the world. And in the Corona times, and it happened so many times, he wanted to get married in a small wedding. She wanted it big. They started fighting. It all fell apart. And she had to say why it happened. She had to write an apology to all this public because they all knew about this wedding. Now, how can you become private again when the walls of your house break and everyone sees everything you have? The capacity to interpret a situation will not be there any longer, because all the world has already interpreted it like they wanted. Keep your privacy. Keep your everyday's work. Keep the love that you spread around. It's written in our haftarah that we read this Shabbat. Ma Hashem Elokecha doresh me'imcha. What does Hashem want from you? Asot mishpat. You do what you should do. Ahavat chesed. You spread love around even if you shouldn't do it. And hatznea lechet im Hashem Elokecha. Tzniut, modesty. Keep what you have so you will be able to interpret it differently. Don't let everyone around interpret it. Every day, I love you, Hashem. Every day, surround what you have with walls. Do not expose everything you have. The walls of Jerusalem were broken on Shiva Asar Betamuz. Another homework, and it is very, very, very important during the 3 weeks. At 12:30 at noon, the Holy Ari says, it's Tikkun Chatzot. Usually Tikkun Chatzot, we cry for Beit HaMikdash at night, at midnight. But on the 3 weeks, during the day, half of the day, if you can shed one tear, it is so, so important. And why are tears so important during the 3 weeks? Chazal revealed to us that the first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed of sins that everyone sees. They worshipped idols, they killed each other. They made horrible, unsanua things. Everyone could understand the sins, so they could fix them. But in the second Beit Mikdash, they were all frum. They were all going to Beit Knesset and coming back home. But their hearts were full of hostility, of hatred, of pride, of feelings of revenge. ראשונים שנתגלה עוונם, נתגלה קיצם. The first ones, we all knew their sins, so we also knew the end of the destruction of the first temple. But the second temple, they were all tzaddikim. The heart was so dirty. And the Maharal reveals the one and only thing which cleans the dirt of the heart is a tear. Because the tear is like the sponge of the heart. It comes from the heart and it takes out all the hostility, all the hatred, all the bad thoughts, all anxiety. Try to shed one tear at half of the day during the 3 weeks. So the homework is, I love you. The homework is interpreting your life for the good with your mouth, shedding a tear, and according to the mystic sages, according to the Mekubalim, every day until 3:30 at noon, do not walk between the sun and the shadow. It's a very, very dangerous place. Some bad force, some bad power has control on the place which is half sun and half shade. Why? Because this bad power wants you to be half. Wants you to say, okay, so we do not have Geula yet. זה בסדר. We do not have Beit Mikdash yet. זה בסדר. We fight each other and hate each other. זה בסדר. All year I teach you to walk between the light and the shade, to see the dark sides and the bright sides. 3 weeks, I want you to go to the extreme, to say the world has to be redeemed. We cannot comfort ourselves with what is good. We have to daven for what is wrong. When the Tamid, the sacrifice of the Tamid was cancelled, we were left only with tefillah, only with our mouth. Neshalma parim sfatenu. Instead of the sacrifice, we have these lips. When everything changes, the lips are opened. When the donkey stops walking, its mouth is being opened. We have to daven every day. Uvene Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh. We have to daven Avinu Malkenu. Shelach refuah shlema lecholei amecha. Send refuah shlema to all the sick people. Avinu Malkenu mena magefa minachalatecha. Take this horrible disease from us. We learned the lesson. You want us to love. You want us to be like those 2 angels that when Our nation went to the Galut when Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. They see those two angels above Kodesh HaKodeshim, putting their wings on one another, protecting each other. This is the picture which is with us since then. Can you protect her with your wings? This year, we cannot hug, we cannot kiss. All we do is take those aggressive elbows with which you pushed people in order to be the first one in the line, very Israeli. Today you see Israelis doing this in order to say shalom, in order to say I give you space, in order to say, hey, I think that because you are so different, you are just the piece of puzzle that will put me in place. I want us all, precious, precious woman, to put our hands now on one another virtually. We have here so many women from all around the world. We are in this holy organization seed. We are putting this evening the seeds for the Geula to come here. Amen. From Jerusalem. I want us to bless, to give a bracha to one another. You say after me, Yesimech Elohim, Kesara, Rivka, Rachel, ולאה, יברכך אדוני, וישמרך, יאר אדוני, פניו אליך, ויחונך, יישא אדוני, פניו אליך, וישם לך שלום. And now you repeat after me. אני אוהבת אותך. Oh, thank you so much, Joanne Dab. Thank you, Aviva. Thank you, all of you.
I want to quickly do one thing to thank the Rabbanit, to say Mazal Tov, that we should all
Mazal Tov.
Mazal Tov.